Yeah, Matt, the coalition has vowed to scrap this if it wins the election. There has been this community concern, as we've just seen, but do you think that it will have a genuine impact at the ballot box?
Look, it's hard to say, obviously, always, Danica, sorry. Look, I just think we've got to do the right thing by the country, and it's not right that a community has its heart effectively ripped out of it by marking off these massive areas of land from community use. I mean, these communities are ocean communities. They're ocean-going communities. People own boats. They like to go out and fish. It's part of their culture. It's part of why people live in these towns. And I think some people don't appreciate that when these zones are declared, when the wind turbines go up in these zones, no boat can go in there. They're marked off for all use. The only use it gets is the investors, often overseas investors, who are doing it to make a whole lot of money off us. But for the community, they just can't no longer go out and fish, go out and enjoy the wonderful ocean that we are lucky enough to live alongside. And so it's devastating for those communities. So look, I don't know what will end up happening at the election, but that's not how we should make a decision on something like this. We should make a decision based on what is best in the best interests of Australians and these local communities who want to keep using the oceans near them.
Yeah, which is fair enough. And David, you know that area very well here in New South Wales. You can understand the frustration. People just want to see their power bills come down, all this hoo-ha that goes on with it.
Well, they do. And in my part of the northwest of Sydney, power bills have come down when people put solar panels on. So, but this part of Labor can't take this area for granted. This part of the state has regularly rebelled against the Labor Party. There's been Liberal MPs down there for a decade in the state parliament. Labor did not embraced the Lord Mayoral candidate in Wollongong at the last election. In fact, they rejected him outright. And so I think you'll probably find that with a changing demographic, this is very good fertile ground for the coalition.
Yeah, you think they could make inroads here?
Easily on this, because it's quite clear that that they have not sold the policy. It's quite clear that it's unpopular. It's quite clear that it's not going to deliver them the public policy, the results that they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, this is interesting because at least 24 CFA brigades are on strike. They're refusing to fight wind, solar and transmission line fires over what they call the Victorian government's reckless renewables expansion. Take a look.
This action is being taken because the federal government, the state government, AEMO and anyone involved with this transition to renewable energy have completely forgotten us in the process. They're going to put a large number of facilities, battery projects, substations, transmission lines and wind and solar operations in our countryside without our consent and without thinking about the absolute risk of fire danger in our communities. They're not listening. They don't care.
I think the transmission lines and renewable energy projects are posing a massive fire risk in the broader community.
Well, you can see they've clearly had enough of Labor carving up their land in the name of renewables. But Matt, what does this strike tell you?
Well, look, it's not surprising to me. I'm obviously not a Victorian, but likewise, I've had Rural Fire Brigade chiefs here quit their jobs because they can't get clear answers about how to fight fires that emerge from wind factories or massive battery parks that are going in all around the place here in central Queensland. So the same concerns are obviously there in Victoria. And what all of this shows is that this so-called renewables revolution is a top-down imposition from our so-called betters on the rest of us. There is a grassroots revolt against the reckless amount of renewable energy that's being put into the bush. And it's about time governments listen to those on the ground, because we are meant to have governments that represent us. We're meant to have governments, a parliamentary democracy that reflects the views of the people. But these people have not been asked whether they want massive amounts of their landscape devoted to energy production, to effectively industrialise their rural areas. And until recently, their voices haven't been heard. But thanks to lots of the media now, we're starting to see that, and we might get a change of approach soon.